It's intercepted. Shaquille Griffin makes an incredible play. Coleman looks out of the gun, runs the option, keeps it. He is into the end zone for the Knights touchdown.
Welcome to Nightline Postgame Live. When the clock expires, we go live. Night Nation's only post-game call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Fegley coming to you from the 1148 studios. Oh boy, this is a different situation than we've been in quite a while. As far as Mackenzie Milton's injury, that was incredible. We win the game, obviously. We are undefeated for the second year in a row, but I mean, honestly, my concern is Mackenzie Milton at this moment, and honestly, that was a bad injury, and Mackenzie Milton's future playing football, to be honest with you, is my concern, personally. You can call in 407-401-9184, 407-401-9184, and let's talk about it. I know a lot of you are leaving the game right now. Jeez. I'm beside myself. I've been sick to my stomach. I almost threw up when I saw that, to be honest with you, because it was bad. And I never want to see that happen to anybody, let alone, one of my favorite players on what I call my team, So, I don't know. Yeah, that was a difficult thing to see. I mean, we've seen this kind of thing before. Let's take this phone call here real quick. Somebody's calling. Hey, you're on Nightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kenny from Winter Springs, Florida.
Hey, Kenny, what's up?
It's a great win, but just worried about Mackenzie.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I've been sick to my stomach ever since I saw it happen. It took me a second to even realize what had happened. But, I mean, obviously he's very injured. Somebody was like, oh, we're not going to see him again this year. Obviously, we're not going to see him again this year. I hope we see him ever in general again as far as playing football. To me, that looked like his knee was dislocated. I hope it wasn't. I hope that his leg was broken below the knee. I hope, because that would give him a lot more ability later on if that's the case. Those heal a lot easier than a knee. You know what I'm saying?
I'm hoping it's something like not like an Alex Smith or a Joe Theismann where it could be a career-ending injury. I'm just hoping that he can recover from this and he can come back, next season if he decides to come back to UCF next season.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think that he wouldn't come back to UCF. I've never thought that, but yeah. Well, I mean, what else besides? I mean, did you see anything good from Mac? Mac looked good at times. Mac ran this thing really good a couple of times there. There were times. I mean, obviously he's going to struggle. He hasn't been in there. So
the first thought to me is if Mac can shake off the rust, get some practice in with the first team, and hopefully next week against Memphis, I think we'll be okay.
We're going to be running the ball a lot, obviously, but we've got
McCray looked good.
Oh, McCray looked awesome. I love McCray. I mean, you guys have heard me say it a million times. I love this guy. He's got something that the other running backs just don't have. Taj McGowan looked really good. I'm still trying to pull up the stats here. I'm working on it. But
yeah.
None of that really matters, though. That's the thing.
But, tonight. But McCray, the thing I like about McCray is how he reminds me of, Le'Veon Bell from the Steelers. He can hesitate, look for the opening, and take advantage of it. That's what he reminds me of.
That's patience. That's what they,
Patience.
it's just absolute patience and looking for the hole to open, and it opens. Greg McCray, 181 yards tonight on 16 carries. This is a lot like the other game where he had 16 carries and 181 yards. So 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just hoping, we're, especially with Matt coming in, we're going to be running the ball, and hopefully, McCray can keep this up. And if he has another game like he did against the University of West Central Florida, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the biggest things is, I guess, that we beat the freaking Cows. That's all. That's what matters. It's not all that matters, obviously. I got to play this little cow. There you go. There was the cow noise. You probably didn't hear it, but yeah. So we beat them. I think it was probably a cheap shot. I'm gonna have to look at it again. I don't really want to look at it again, but.
I don't either. It's just like looking at, Theismann's injury from 85.
Or
and,
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith's injury from last week.
Right.
You don't want to look at it.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a good win by the guys, though. I mean, we got it done, and our prayers are with Mackenzie at this point. So.
I just hope he's okay.
Yep.
Just hope he's okay.
All right, man. Thank you for your call.
All right.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Yep.
All right. Well, oh, boy. Okay, so Mackenzie, before he went out, 5 of 10 for 86 yards, averaging 8.6, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Darryl Mack comes in 5 for 14, 81 yards, average 5.8. But the running game was the thing, obviously. Like I said, Greg McCray, 16 carries for 181 yards, averaging 11.3 and 3 touchdowns, his longest being 40. Taj McGowan, 11 carries for 72 yards, 6.5 average, and 1 touchdown. Adrian Killens, 14 carries, 65 yards, 4.6 yards a carry, longest being 21. Darryl Mack, 10 carries, 51 yards, average 5.1, longest 13. So 391 yards rushing, 167 yards passing as far as that goes. So, I mean, the whole thing is just... it's not the same winning out the season and, beating the Bulls. It's just not the same without Mackenzie being in there and all that stuff. So, obviously, that's the thing that is our main concern. Yeah. So, it's going to be just hard to do this because of this situation. I honestly wanted to turn the game off. I didn't want to watch it anymore. My wife didn't watch it anymore. It was very difficult to watch after Mackenzie's injury. Very, very difficult. So total yards, UCF 558 yards, USF or the Cows, as we like to call them, 309 yards. Here's another call. Hey, you're on Nightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Or not? Okay. Try again, my friend. Try again. Because you were on, and something happened. Not sure what. I answered, though. Okay. Well, that's our little. It's kind of our little ringer there because it buzzes when the phone turns on, which is fine. Whatever we have to do. So, I'm looking here at the people that are commenting. Prayers for Milton Charjon. May have broken our best case scenario. I don't know if that was the good way to say that, but still looking good. So phone line's obviously open, 407-401-9184. Let's see, what else? 5 penalties for 34 yards, not horrible. 4 penalties for 34 on the other sideline. 1 turnover each, We actually won the time of possession, which is really rare for us. We had the ball basically a minute longer than the Cows did, which is pretty interesting. Which, I mean, obviously when Mac goes in there, it changes the game. That's one thing that I want y'all to call and talk about with me is that how are we going to do this? What are we going to do in this American Championship game next year? Next week? Sorry, next year. Next week, are we just going to have to run the ball, obviously, or is a week enough time to get Mac really going there? Mac did a great job. He didn't turn the ball over, all that stuff. So I'm happy with that, definitely. So yeah, again, 167 passing yards, 391 on the ground, 58 rushing attempts, and a score of 38-10. So we had the most first downs, obviously. We did pretty well on third down. We got about 50% there. In fact, it was 50%, 9 of 18. So a third down percentage would have been a little bit better with Milton in there the whole game. The other question is, if we win this, we're going to a bowl game. We are. If we win this American Championship and get into a New Year's Six bowl, is what we have good enough to get the job done with the rest of what we have? This has never been really a concern because Milton has always been there. So, all right, let's try that one more time. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Tim in Boynton Beach. I called you too early, actually, and then I had to cancel the call because I was busy doing something else. So, sorry about that.
All right. Well, you were the last caller and this caller, so nobody called in between. So I appreciate it. I think that people were just listening to me, voice my concern about what we're going to do in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hate to say it's like I hate to say anything positive about it because it's kind of crushing, but I think the very, very small positive we can take out of it is like Mac had like 3/4 of a game to practice. Well, maybe we should say practice against the Bulls. But we had that, and then he's going to have, real practice with Heupel, knowing he's going to the game next week. So I think that's a positive. I feel like a lot of his throws were on target and just got kind of like bounced off for a little bit here and there. So, I don't feel that despondent in terms of the actual team. I think, and I don't know what's happened to our defense. I mean, our defense is like crazily, voracious right now. So, anyway.
Well, you're pulling out all the big words tonight. You're pulling out all kinds of big words. You had two of them there.
I have an English degree from ETH, so.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. That's funny. That's great, though. No, that's good. I appreciate it,
Yeah.
I wish I could use those words, but half of them I know not what they mean, so.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, I'm also the guy with a lucky anthracite jersey, so I wore it again today. So.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, so we know of each other, absolutely. I wore my lucky white jersey. We have not lost a game since I've owned and worn this white jersey. So,
all right.
Perfect. I feel when you sent that question in that time, I feel exactly the same way, my friend. Exactly. In fact, last week, I'll tell you a story. Last week it was a blackout, obviously there for the Cincinnati game, and I still wore my white jersey with my black jersey on top of it. So I was double jerseyed. I would not. So that's one way you can do it too from now on. Just if you own another one. But I have an old black jersey. It's like from the O'Leary days. It's a Latavius Murray 28 jersey, and the generic one that they sold. And
wow.
So I wore that one on top of my white jersey, just so I had my white jersey. I don't go to a game or watch a game without that white jersey. So. I completely understand where you're coming from and all that, man. And thank you for wearing your anthracite jersey today. I appreciate it.
No problem. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like, I think if all the crazy chaos plays out, and, I don't think this would even happen at this point, but, hypothetically, if everything happened that would land us somehow in the CFP, that's where I don't know that Mac has the experience to lead us. I feel like, I mean, if we were to, say, somehow end up number 4 with Milton at the helm, I feel like we could have a chance in the very, in the low percentage points, but.
Right. Well, what happens next week and what happens in whatever bowl game we go to, even if it's not the CFP? In fact, I'm almost hoping it's not the CFP at this point because, like you said, I don't know if we could perform even close to well enough to play in a game like that. But what happens next week and what happens in whatever bowl game? I mean, if we get to play in the Fiesta Bowl against the likes of LSU or who knows what else, and they just keep playing this over and over again on ESPN, I really don't want to see it again. Oh, my God. Wow. Yeah. What happens next week? I mean, that's my biggest question, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's scary, but I don't know. This team's, special. I feel like, O'Leary's the years of O'Leary were great in many ways, but I feel like there's a sort of feeling of static with how everything played out, and it felt like we just did the same thing over and over again. And I feel like the teams lately, even from Frost to Heupel, there were just constant adjustments, and there's a lot of dynamic, play calling going on. That I'm feeling less and less like. I don't know, people who've been fans of UCF for 20 years, you get this feeling of numbing inevitability. That's hard to pronounce after a few beers. I don't know. There's some game where we played against Syracuse and we were beating them 28-7 or something like that, and they came back and won it. And it just feels like nowadays that's not going to happen. And I feel like Heupel can get it done, and I feel like he can make things happen. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We really have to see what Mac can do.
Yeah, we have to have faith in Heupel, obviously. I mean, it's a big deal. We have to. And I trust Heupel. I trust Heupel to do whatever it's going to take. I mean, we still have Quadri Jones out there as well as a backup, and you never know. We saw him one time this year. It happened to be against Memphis, I believe. It was either Memphis or ECU. I can't remember, but it was probably ECU, actually. But he came in and, they threw him that little pass, and he threw a touchdown pass, so that little lateral. He obviously has an arm. He can run. I know that he can run. I know that Mac can run. So, I mean, we'll see, I guess. We're going to learn a lot, and things are going to get very interesting here in the next week.
It's definitely. All right, I think I have to put my kid to bed now, though. So, but it was nice calling in.
All right, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Go Knights.
Thanks for doing the podcast. It definitely keeps me entertained.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
All right.
Go
Take
Knights.
Care. Bye.
He was supposed to say charge on, but maybe he didn't know that. All right, so let's get to the comments here on the YouTube, the bottom of YouTube here, since y'all are commenting, but you're not calling. Y'all can call, especially Michael down there. You can call for sure, my friend. You are always in on pretty much everything we do, so liking stuff and talking and stuff back and forth. So, yeah, you guys that are commenting down here. Anyway. Randy Shannon finally woke up in the last 2 weeks. Yes, I'm not sure if that's exactly how it worked, but he definitely is running the defense very stout. very good this week. So, in the last couple weeks, 196 yards rushing still by the Cows. They had 309 total yards. It could have been a hell of a lot worse than that. So we'll take it. And then we still have 4 really good running backs, 3 really good receivers, and 1 really good tight end. You are absolutely right, my friend. So somebody give me a call here, 407-401-9184, 407-401-9184. Until that happens, or not until, but let's do a commercial real quick because I need to get that out of the way here.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Nightline and Nightline Postgame Live. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
You've heard us talk about the great food at our good friend Kyle Israel's restaurant, The Little Greek Fresh Grill. The Little Greek now has franchises available. Please call 407-697-2272. That's 407-697-2272 to see what The Little Greek can do for you. Also check out The Little Greek's newest location at 3131 Daniels Road, Suite 104, Winter Garden, Florida. The Little Greek Fresh Grill. Fresh, flavorful, fabulous. All right, we're back, and we're going to take this phone call. Where you're on Nightline. Who are you, and where are you calling from?
This is Pierce from South Florida, brother. What's going on?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for calling. Tell me your thoughts. Get it all out.
Hey, man. Well, it wasn't obviously it was a bittersweet night, right? Like, we got the win against the Cows, but hey, you can't ignore the fact that we lost KZ, right? At least for tonight, and it looks for the rest of the season. But you know, here's all I gotta say about KZ, man. The guy doesn't even have an escape key on his computer. He's such a badass. You know what I mean?
I like that one. I had not heard that before. That was a good one. I like it. It's true.
Look, he can't even fill out a form online because he'll never submit.
That's good too. You got all the good ones, man. So, are you concerned going into next week with playing Memphis again?
No, I mean, I'm not very concerned because I think it's a team thing, right? It's not just about one person. I think we got an awesome set of receivers. We got obviously an excellent running game. Our defense is really picking up the pace on their end of it. So, you know, special teams were good there too. So I think team effort, we got this thing, we got it on lock, man.
All right. Well, I like that perspective, and that will definitely give us some positive energy right there. I appreciate that for sure.
You got it, man. Yeah, I guess that's all I got. Hopefully we'll have some more people calling in for you, brother. Good show.
All right, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Later.
All right. Well, there's some positive energy. I like that. So, yeah, he makes a good point. We have a heck of an actual team here. This is a team. It's not just about one guy. Obviously, our thoughts are with one guy tonight, but it is it's not just about one guy. So as we're waiting to hear, you know, stuff from, hopefully Trace will give us a call. We had talked a little bit during the game. I have heard, and I don't know this positively, but I have heard that Mackenzie had gone into surgery to get this, whatever it is, taken care of. And I wouldn't doubt that. I'm a medical person. I've worked in hospitals for years and years. I'm a paramedic. Worked in emergency rooms for a very, very long time as well. And I've seen these types of injuries, and you can get them, fixed up pretty quick. Hopefully not a lot of knee damage. That's what I worry about the most as far as this goes. But I don't know about that. So we shall see. Let's get back to some of these comments because y'all are really commenting on the YouTube chat here. prayers up to KZ, praying for a speedy recovery. My heart goes out to him and his family. Another guy says, what a game by Greg McCrae. Absolutely, 100%. Then somebody says, people are very critical of Shannon. They are. Chins was not that great, which is true. And then everybody seems too stunned into silence or on the road back from Tampa. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then somebody else says here, I don't know if something was up with the field, but it looks like a lot of players were losing their footing. It looked like a Cows player who hit McKenzie's knee slipped when he went in for the tackle. I hope that's the case. I hope that he didn't go low on McKenzie to take out his knee, because you see guys doing that, unfortunately, and that is not cool whatsoever, obviously. The game of football should not be played that way. You shouldn't, and unfortunately, it is sometimes. You see this all the time. They've tried to stop it as much as they could. As far as like calling penalties for cut blocks and stuff, you actually see that a little bit more in the NFL, I think, as far as calling the cut blocks. You don't see it too much in college football, as far as I'm concerned. But they should, because that is a very dangerous way to tackle. That's not a correct way to tackle, and if you're tackling somebody like that, you're trying to hurt them. And obviously, it's people's careers that you're putting in an issue with. Look at this injury that Teddy Bridgewater had. This is the one that came to my mind when I looked at what happened to McKenzie there. All I know is his leg was facing the other direction, and I didn't really want to look at it close enough to see if it was above or below the knee. But if it was the knee, there could be a lot of ligament damage there. Teddy Bridgewater obviously has never been the same since that happened to him in practice, a dislocation of his knee. All right, let's take this one. Hey, you're on Nightline. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
Hey, Andrew, it's me and Angus over here in Tarpon Springs.
Hey, man, how are you?
I've been better.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus tonight.
Yeah, this is a win. I just can't celebrate other than out of respect for McKenzie Milton. I kind of have to, for all that he's done in the last 2 years. I mean, you got to celebrate it I think that's what he'd want. He'd want us all to celebrate this as another win over the Cows. So
absolutely. An undefeated season, undefeated regular season, and, 24 games in a row. Not many teams do that, but it is a little bittersweet, isn't it? I mean. Oh, yeah,
absolutely bittersweet. I mean, leading up to this game, everything that's been going on at UCF with game day and Cincinnati, that win. And even living here over in Tarpon Springs, I can tell you, it's unusual to see a bunch of UCF pride this far out, but seen a lot of it lately. I don't know if it's just sort of that bias you get when you're thinking about something, you start seeing it everywhere. Like, everybody drives the same car I do, But
yeah,
saw a lot of UCF support in the last week, so it's a shame this had to happen.
Yeah, it is. I'm speechless sometimes, and I didn't really say another thing while I was watching that game to my wife. She finally just stopped watching it. She couldn't even watch it after that. So,
yeah, I'm with you. It was a true test of my self-control with a 2.5-year-old and a little over 1 year sitting next to me, 2 kids. Daddy can't just fly off the handle.
Yeah, that's true.
But I have to. It was a true test of self-control. But one thing I wanted to say, and I really do hope USF fans listen to this and think about this. I really find it hard to stomach these sorts of things, especially from this fan base. And I know there are a lot of fan bases, and every fan base, including ours, has bad people in it, people that you don't want to deal with on Twitter or social media. That being said, I sat next to a Navy fan a couple weeks back and never had an issue. Great experience. And I would say that pretty much for everybody in our conference. I haven't come across any fans that I can't have a joke or two back and forth, maybe a couple jabs, but we keep it, clean, keep it sportsmanlike, that sort of thing. But when you have USF players, and I wish it was the first time, come out, we got captains, you're going to shake hands before a game, and you just don't even shake hands. I'm not saying they had anything like this planned. They obviously, it doesn't seem like they did anything like this on purpose. But that sort of behavior, this should be a lesson for everybody. That sort of behavior, when something does happen, makes it really hard for me to take, somebody on Twitter or some USF fan or USF account seriously when it's like, oh, hearts out for Mackenzie, prayers for him. It's like, really? Should I really believe that? And I'm not saying they're being disingenuous. This seems like a good time to talk about that sort of behavior and the sort, I want to see sportsmanship back. I want to see that from our fans. I want to see that from everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. It gets ugly, especially on Twitter. I mean, we have had to defend ourselves against everyone that has come at us from every single, school over this national championship thing and everything else, and we have done a beautiful job of that. But
and I'm not saying I haven't made mistakes in my career as a UCF fan. When I was in my 20s, going over to Tampa, I'm sure I did some stupid things. In fact, I know I did. In my late 30s now, I can tell you as an older guy, not older, but, more experienced, I guess, that's just not how to behave. And we need to set some examples. I mean, it's one thing when it's on Twitter, but when you see this stuff spill over on, to the beginning of a game, and it goes back before that. I mean, I remember USF folks digging up our field, I think it was. It's just crazy stuff that happens, and it's just too far. And it needs to be put in perspective when something like this happens to the caliber of a player that Mackenzie Milton is, and the caliber of a person. I mean, forget player. I mean, he represents our school so well. He's so well-spoken. He's calm. He's polite. He's good to all the fans. He takes time for everybody. I mean, you can't say enough about the guy, and he deserves everyone's respect, whether you're a Knight fan or not.
Yeah. Well, I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm going to say I'm going to break in here real quick and say this. I messaged Mackenzie's dad right after it happened, basically, and I said, prayers for you guys. That was horrible. He just messaged me back and said, thanks for your prayers. He's in surgery now, so that's confirmed. Glad to see the Knights rolled to a good win against the Bulls. So, so he confirmed he's in surgery, and they're getting it taken care of, and I'm sure that they're doing the best job that they possibly can. So, that's good news, and I appreciate Mark. If you're listening, I don't think you probably are, but I appreciate you texting me back and all that stuff. So that's good to hear. I'm hearing a little bit. Hearing a little bit from Trace as well over there, because he's over there, and obviously Heupel wouldn't get into any specifics. Refused to say if he was even going to the hospital, as far as if Heupel was going to the hospital. Mac was emotional. Mac was emotional. He says he felt the team's support, as he always has. They all love one another, and they're rallying for KZ. So. All of our hearts and minds are with him, and I'm going to let you go, but, I would just leave saying, hey, if you're a UCF fan, I mean, I doubt you'll have a chance to directly help Mackenzie Milton tomorrow, but just treat every other UCF fan and every other fan for that matter the way you treat Mackenzie Milton, and we'll all be doing all right. Absolutely. I 100% agree. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, so, wow, Lord have mercy, people. So, nice to hear from Mark Milton, though. Very, very nice. Texted him back, just telling him thank you for letting me know. I can't talk and type very, very well. So if you missed that, Trace said that obviously they're not giving any specifics, and Mac was emotional, and he felt the team support as he always had, and they all love one another, and they rallied for KZ. So that's awesome. Man, I don't know where we go from here. I guess we start thinking about next week because that's all that we can do. That's all that the team can do. I know that the team will stay focused. I know that Heupel will keep them focused, I should say. Besides these guys just being teammates, one of the big things that people need to remember, and you know, sometimes you don't think about it as much when you watch stuff on TV, but all these people are human, you know, and they're all buddies and they're friends and all that stuff, and so this is going to be hard on the rest of the team. So for the rest of the team to be able to rally like this and to make sure they put that game away, that was a big deal. So I'm glad that they were able to do that. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to play another commercial here, and I'll be back.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
All right, Tasty Gravy, by the way, are the people that did our new website. It is nightlinesports.com, and it is absolutely beautiful. And, of course, Christmas is coming up soon, and I know there are of those of you out there that have already ordered your T-shirts, but T-shirts are only $15. You can get them. It's a black T-shirt with either a white Nightline logo on it or a gold shiny Nightline logo on them. The same price, free shipping, all that stuff. And I am going to be making a bunch of T-shirts tomorrow, I can tell you that. So please go check out our website, UCF Night. It's not UCF. It's just Nightline Sports, nightlinesports.com, and all that. So T-shirts on there. There's all kinds of stuff on there. But it is absolutely beautiful, and Tasty Gravy did an absolutely wonderful job. So I guess we could talk a little bit about what happened with Houston and Memphis. I didn't get to watch that game because I had a bunch of stuff going on. I had to mow the yard and all that stuff, get the Christmas decorations up. It's time to do that, I guess. I thought it was a little early to do that, but I did listen to the game on the radio, on the Houston, on their radio. So now if I can only find the score for that game, I'll be in good shape here. Come on, ESPN.com. Got a lot of, it's kind of heavy on the internet doing this, so my internet is running slow. Slow. All right, so here it is, I think, coming up somewhere. Oh, well, I'm looking in the top 25, and neither one of them are in the top 25, so that's why I can't find it. That would do it. All right, here it is. Memphis 52, Houston 31. So Darrell Henderson from Memphis, 24 carries, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, who I hope is a senior this year as well. Oh, all right, well. All right, you saved us from listening to me talk about the Houston-Memphis game. So what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Andrew from Oviedo.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm at a loss for words, man.
I am too.
I mean, I've never seen a win zapped out of me so much. I should be much more happier that we beat our people across the state, but it's null and void. I just hope the country's okay. I really do. I'm pretty sure most other people have called and wish best wishes as well, but
yeah,
it's definitely bittersweet.
It is. It definitely is. It feels very strange tonight. Yeah. So.
But to slightly switch gears, because I'm pretty sure we're hoping McKenzie's the best. In terms of the game, I thought we did pretty well given the situation. Our running back core is ridiculously elite. If one doesn't work, throw another one in. I mean, they had no answer for our running backs, and that's pretty much been true all season. I think D-Mac did the best he could given the situation. I think he looked really good in the pocket, and he had some pretty good throws. I mean, his receivers didn't help him out a couple times, but he looked good in replacement. And in terms of USF, their offense is straight garbage. I mean, as much as as sad as I was with what's happened, our offense was complete garbage, and they had no answer for our defense. So that was definitely the plus side.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think it takes a little bit of time to get used to a different guy throwing the ball. And I think that's what some of that was. Not all of it, but some of it.
Yeah, I mean, with how they were calling plays, I mean, it felt like O'Leary switched teams for a day. I mean, their play calling was very predictable. And it was surprising that you think they would have tried some new stuff. They tried the same stuff every time, the halfback dive, the sweep, the run up the middle. I mean, it was very, very easy to defend against.
You're talking about the Cows.
Yes, that team, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was saying that sometimes it's going to take our receivers a little bit of time to get used to Darryl Mack throwing the ball instead of KZ throwing the ball. So
true. It'll take. He has a week.
Yeah.
He has the week to figure it out.
Yeah, it has the week to get the timing done. And if I was Darryl Mack, I'd be bugging those receivers to be on the practice field or wherever to catch some passes, as many passes as they could, because we know that Darryl Mack has an arm. We know he does. We know he can throw.
Oh yeah, he is.
I know he
has
can.
a good arm.
Because I watched all of his high school tape. I know for sure that the guy can throw. I was so excited when we signed him, just because in high school he was a hell of a quarterback. Threw for over 3,000 yards. So
I think if our offensive line can keep him upright, he's going to do well. I mean, the one thing he doesn't have is the scrambling ability, but most quarterbacks that size and frame don't. I mean, if the offensive line can keep him upright, keep him protected, he can pick apart any secondary, just like McKenzie could.
And I think that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to, get him in the pocket and have him throw. I mean, obviously he can run. He ran the first game that he played in this year for a 70-yard touchdown. We saw him run against East Carolina. He's good
on designed runs. On designed runs, he's very good. It's his scrambling ability he's going to need some work on.
And making something happen when the play breaks down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing to do, and that is what McKenzie is so good at. So we've gotten really spoiled with McKenzie.
Oh, definitely.
And because he's so good at that. I mean, so good at it. So that's going to be a difficult thing to change a little bit. But, Heupel's offense is not really designed for a player like McKenzie. It's designed for a quarterback more like Mack, a pocket passer. So we'll see. I have faith in Heupel, and I think Heupel's going to do great things in the next coming weeks. We'll see.
Yeah, especially with that other team that won't go away.
Yeah, well, I think we can handle them. I really do. I was very I really thought that, going into this, when I saw that they won today, I thought that, we can handle them. We played the worst game of our entire year against them the last time. So I don't look for that to happen again, obviously. But I thought with McKenzie, before the Cows game started, I thought that we have Memphis's number. It's just going to be fought in the trenches now. It's going to be all about the offensive line and the defensive line.
We have to stop Henderson. That man is borderline bionic.
Yeah, he's a great running back. We absolutely have to stop him. So I think that Randy Shannon is going to work right now, already on the bus, Or going back to the hotel or whatever they're doing tonight. I bet he's working, and his mind his little cogs in his mind are working really hard right now. So let's hope so.
Absolutely, man.
All right. Well, thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Thank you. All right. So let's see. I'm going to try to make a phone call here. Let's see how this works. I don't do this very often. But let's try to call Trace and see if maybe we can get a hold of him. I'm not sure if this will work or not, because I know that he might still be, well, let's not do that yet. We'll try that in a little while. I know they've talked to Max so far. They may be talking to other players at this point. I am going to text him, though, and tell him to call when he can. And I can't type and talk for some reason. You would think that I would be a little bit better at that than I am. I'm showing you all my weaknesses here. You guys see them anyway. Oh, boy. All right, well, somebody just ordered some T-shirts, and I really, really appreciate that. So my plea going out there to order T-shirts just worked, because I just got a little message on my phone as well about that. So, all right, I'm going to get back to these comments. There was another comment that somebody left. Charlie Strong's sideline demeanor looked like a coach who had been fired. Well, I know that a lot of the fans would like to fire him over there in Tampa. And we'll see how that works. I don't think that they're going to fire him. That would be a little crazy after a game, after just one bad year. He had a pretty good year last year until they met us. And another positive here, guys. We have to think of the positives. So I'm gonna throw another one out. We have held on to this War on I-4 trophy for 2 years now. So we have to think about that. And you know, we beat the Bulls, or the Cows, I guess I should say. We beat them 2 years in a row. Somebody says on here, Andrew, you can take pride in that literally on UCF's worst day, we're still better than the Cows. So go Knights and charge on. And that's absolutely, absolutely true. We're always better. Even on our worst day, we're better than them. So I think that's very important to remember, because, you know, you got to remember anything good that you can in situations like this. So if you didn't hear me before, confirmed that that Milton is in surgery and getting that taken care of. So, all right, here we go. Hey, thank you for calling Nightline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Trace Trulko here at the stadium. Hello, Andrew.
Oh boy, Trace. What do you got for us?
Well, just out of the post-game session with Coach Heupel and the players, and certainly a somber mood. Not the reaction that you'd expect after going undefeated in the regular season. Again, let me cut to the chase, though. Coach Heupel obviously asked about McKenzie's status. He refused to comment on that, and we don't have any update for you on Post-Game Live. So I don't have any
Oh, you didn't hear my update that I did give. I did give an update because McKenzie's dad actually texted me back. And
what's that update?
The update is that he is actually in surgery, and that they're going to get him taken care of. So that was the update from Milton's dad.
Well, that's I guess positive to hear that they're getting right to it here in Tampa. Darryl Mack first to come out after Coach Heupel, and really fought back, just the emotions, just how difficult it was. They all really pained, not from a football perspective, but from a human being perspective, really looking out for McKenzie. And, it's tough on them. They all shared tough to flip the switch, but they knew that they had to. and get right back to game action. And they put forth a dominating performance, especially on defense and in the running game. And now they welcome Memphis. It seems like UCF and Memphis have squared off quite a few times over the last 2 seasons. It'll be the 4th. And, they're going to enjoy this one as much as they can and then get back to preparing for the conference championship game. Quite an achievement when you look at what they were able to overcome the adversity in this game. And then now they prepare for that conference championship game a week from Saturday at UCF.
Who else did they have out there besides Mac?
Greg McCrae, and all of the questions, Greg McCrae, Jordan Johnson, we got Richie Grant, we got Nate Evans. So quite a few players all asked immediately about McKenzie. Their hearts are with him. And most of their cases, really, they don't have an update. They don't know what's going on. They're just very concerned about him. And then, of course, questions shift to the game itself and then looking ahead to next week. And all consistent in their comments. You could see each of them struggling with the emotion. This was hard for them to see their guy, go down and get hurt. But they rallied, and, we got that post-game reaction that we'll bring on Nightline this weekend. We'll know more from the team, obviously, when they release an official statement, and you have a little bit more information, obviously, than was released to the media.
Yeah, well, it's good that we were able to get a little bit of that information. I mean, we were getting that anyway through sources, but it's good to hear it from Mackenzie's dad and all that stuff, so...
Well, I will say this. They were all commenting that they have a great deal of confidence in Daryl Mack to lead this team. And you saw some crisper play out of Mack. You got to feel good as a Knight fan that with the right game plan, they can be victorious against Memphis. But we saw Memphis 2 times last season in a markedly different performance in the second game. Tight game in Memphis earlier this season. Memphis is going to bring it all that they have, and they've got that talented running back. But we talked about it last week, the defense really peaking at the right time. And they put really a good performance here in Tampa. And kind of just lost in this, and it gets asked towards the end on all of the questions. But they celebrate the War on I-4 victory, the rivalry victory, keeping the trophy, and there was excitement on the field afterwards as they were hoisting the trophy, and the players commented that they were really buoyed by Knight Nation. Hard to gauge the exact distribution of fans. You got a little bit greater sense of it in the second half when UCF fans turned on their cell phone lights and brought forth Starry Night here at Raymond James in Tampa. Maybe 50-50 or somewhere thereabouts, and certainly towards the end it was nearly Knight Nation. A de facto home game for UCF, and you could feel the energy sucked out of the press box, out of the crowd when McKenzie went down, and no doubt for Knight Nation watching and listening all across the country. But the crowd really rallied behind the team, and they were a big factor in keeping them, focused and just energetic in the second half.
Well, that's good. I will put this down as my single worst moment of watching UCF football, no question. So... it was hard to watch even on TV. I didn't.
Yeah, I have. It was hard in the press box because they weren't really showing replays, so you might have a greater sense of it. I've seen it online, and it certainly is a gruesome injury. We don't know to the extent, just how debilitating it is for McKenzie, but they all consider him a warrior, a baller. They said in post game. And if there's anyone on this team that can come back from such an injury, I think they and we know that it's one McKenzie Milton.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, man. Well, thank you for calling. We have a lot to talk about on Sunday, so safe travels back.
It's just a mix of emotions,
it is.
In one regard. This is an 11-0 team that has put together back-to-back perfect regular seasons, that has given Josh Heupel, a first-year head coach, a perfect regular season. It's going to be a highly anticipated rematch, but the storylines change. It's Daryl Mack's team now, and what role and the offense and how they go about their game plan and what we might see if anything from a Quadri Jones next week. It just shifts all of this, but they're going to get right back to football, and we know what's at stake. This was about war on I-4. This was about rivalry. This was about completing a perfect regular season. Next week, it's about winning a conference championship and playing in one of those New Year's six-day bowl games. So there's a lot of work to do this week in what will be an emotionally charged week, and this will be the hardest week for Josh Heupel as a head coach, no doubt. He's got to keep this team focused, and you know they will be, but they're people, and this is their friend, and they care about him, and this is going to be a hard week for them to be focused on football. But that's what they're going to have to do this week if they want to be victorious over Memphis.
Absolutely. 100%. Yep. I was getting into that. I was talking about that at one point and got interrupted by a phone call, which is perfectly fine. But I was saying how these are real people. They're not just football players in a video game. Bad things happen sometimes, and all these players talk about how these are their brothers and all that stuff. It's very hard to keep yourself in check emotionally after something like this happens.
And they, of course, they've got to flip the switch, and you've played the game and no doubt have seen people injured, and that's hard for them to do. And, and the offense, everything sort of changes a bit with Darryl Mack behind center. And if there was ever a night to have a strong defensive performance, it was certainly this game, this night in Tampa. And then when they flipped the switch and they started, getting back into that rhythm, they were able to focus on the game. But to a man, each of them in the postgame said that their thoughts were still with KZ. They said that they didn't really need a hyped-up halftime speech from Coach Heupel or coaches, that they knew what was at stake and that they were going to rally and do this for 10. And, that's a big character test. We talk so much about last year and Scott Frost and his team, and was it the coaches or the players? And, you get a little defensive, especially where Frost is concerned, and you want to say it's the players. And you certainly know it's a combination. You can't do it without everybody working together. But we saw a great deal about the character of these players tonight and in that post game and in their reaction. There are a lot of good people, a lot of good human beings on this team. And, I texted you during the game and said it's hard to just be focused on the game. I mean, I got emotional just sitting up there realizing that someone that I've talked to many times with a microphone, also just off mic, and just, gotten to talk to and appreciate the conversations. It's hard to watch someone go through that. And I do appreciate that the crowd here from both sides and the players from both sides spend time with Mackenzie when he was down on the field. Those are tough moments, and showed the character of the UCF team, and I know Night Nation is proud of them once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Cows staff was immediately to him as well, and that shows good sportsmanship, and that's what they do. It's a rivalry goes out the window sometimes as far as that goes. So, and you can probably hear the emotion in my voice.
I don't have a sense of it, and we can talk about this certainly in depth more on Sunday, because maybe in some ways it's not the right moment. But I don't have a sense of the quality of that play in which he got hurt on. It seems like that was a little bit of a low blow there.
Well, somebody said, a caller called in and said that it seemed like the player slipped maybe to go low. Didn't maybe do it intentionally in the field. You saw a lot of players lose their footing on the field tonight, and maybe that player slipped and didn't intentionally try to go low, but just happened to be there. I mean, I'll probably rewatch it over and over again to try to see what actually happened. I hate to do it. I didn't want to watch the game, period, after that happened, but I had to talk about it. So that's really the only reason that I kept watching. It was so devastating. And Tina my wife was completely devastated when it happened. She couldn't watch the game at all anymore. And I hate.
Well, Richie Grant was asked about if he saw the play happen, and he said no. And he was asked if he saw the replay or anything on the big screen here, and he said that he couldn't look.
Yeah.
That he didn't want to see that he knew that it was bad, and that this was his guy, and he didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
And
yep.
it's boy, I was in the elevator going down to the field with Sports Information Director of Communications for UCF, Andy Seeley, and we just sort of looked at one another. And this is a game at that point that was 31-10, and he looked up at me and he said, if there was ever a night when a win didn't feel like a win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly how it feels. The players will do their best. I know the coaches will do their best to enjoy a perfect season, winning the East, the War on I-4 trophy, but all of that goes out the window, and Night Nation's collective hearts and thoughts and prayers are with Mackenzie and his family. And I guess by the time we get to record and come together on Nightline 172 Sunday, maybe we'll be in a bit better place emotionally with all of this and can talk a little bit more about X's and O's. But for tonight, it certainly is a game in which a victory doesn't feel much like a win.
Not at all. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you doing everything that you do for Nightline and Night Nation, man. You do a great job, and I appreciate everything you do.
All right, we all need one another to get through this and send positive energy to Mackenzie and the team.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.
Talk
Go
to you
Knights.
later. All right, I'll talk to you on Sunday. I'll talk to you before that, but we'll talk with you on Sunday.
All right, go Knights.
Charge on. All right, well, that was Trace, obviously, there, calling from the stadium over there in Tampa. And he put it in good perspective, the whole thing. So I guess we will just wait to hear more. Hopefully, UCF or family members or somebody will put out some kind of information for us. Because I know that there's a lot of people holding their breaths as far as this goes. And I don't even know what to say. I just hope that Mackenzie can get healed up from this and be able to play his senior year next year or, whatever. But we just hope for the best for him. The guy is such a good football player, and this is what, he's done his entire life, and, we want him to be able to do that again. We want him to be the same Mackenzie Milton once he's healed up and ready to come back. So here's another message, if I can read it, from Facebook here. Looking forward to Milton's recovery. It'll be tough, but he's such an inspiration already. I know our Knights will rally and still charge on, especially for KZ. So definitely an emotional evening. I'm kind of an emotional person anyway. So thank you all for your calls and listening to us and your T-shirt orders and all that stuff. So really appreciate it. We'll get through this. Mackenzie will get through this. Night Nation will get through this. We still have a championship game to play next year or next week and a bowl game. So you never know. We may make it into that college football playoff. I know it's a real long shot, but you never know what's going to happen in these rivalry games. And unfortunately, this is a game to remember. Not the way that we would like to remember it, but it is a game definitely to remember that I don't think many of us will ever forget as Knight fans. So with that, I will talk to you on Sunday night, and thank you very much for everybody calling in and all that, and let's keep Mackenzie in our prayers. For Trace Strelko, I'm Andrew Fegley. This has been Nightline Postgame Live. I appreciate you listening. Charge on.
on to the field. With our spirits we'll never yield. Black and gold charge right through the line. Victory is our cry, B-S-E-T-O-R-Y. Tonight our knights will shine. U-C-F, Knights. U-C-F, let's go Knights. U-C-F, charge on to the field. With our spirits we'll never yield. Black and gold charge right through the line. Victory is our cry, B-S-E-T-O-R-Y. Tonight our knights will shine. Go Knights!